He's gone. He's disappeared. Right at the time you need him.
He's watching the opening again.
And he's muted himself as well.
You gotta unmute yourself there, budgie.
Amateur hour.
He's like, how the fuck do I do that?
Yeah.
There we go.
Hold on.
He's in.
There we go. Right now, picture going to come up. Go. Hi, good evening. As you can tell, I'm at the control, so it's a complete white from the beginning. Good evening and welcome back to West Ham Network and Old School Hammers. You can see no Kieran tonight. Unfortunately, he's working out in the middle of nowhere, fighting off white sharks and crocodiles and things and doing a job. So we've got two special guests in. To my left, Luke Bailey. How are you, mate?
I'm alright. I was on earlier. I clearly like this channel, didn't I? Because I'm back again for a bit more. So hopefully people don't get bored of my face or whatever. So
Channel
I'm alright.
Yeah, that's what you are. Sir. And obviously below us we have a distinguished guest in Craig Forrest.
How you doing, fellas? Great to be on.
Excellent.
Hi, Craig.
Good. You doing well? Everything good at home?
Yeah, everything's fine over here. Yeah, in Toronto for the most part. What's going on over there? There's a revolving door at number 10. What's going on?
Yeah. You know what? We've almost had as many prime ministers this year as we've got goalkeepers at West Ham.
Almost.
We should bring in Sam Allardyce, save him from relegation.
No. We can do better than that still.
Yeah, much better than that. Okay, so right, well, basically we just talk a lot of bollocks and get away with it, really. As we haven't got Kieran, I won't ask him for a weather report. It's probably sunny and really hot where he is anyway.
I can use my world clock and see what I presume he's an Australian guy, isn't he?
Oh yeah, it's about. I can tell you now. It's 9 o'clock for him now.
Okay, let me have a look.
I'll
have a look.
Yeah,
I won't announce it. I'll just keep it a secret.
It could even be 10 o'clock for him. No, it's 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock.
Well, whatever it is, I guarantee it's better weather than over here.
Yeah. Oh, it's early morning for him. It's like 8, 9 o'clock for him now. He's 10 hours behind us, I think. Of course, Craig's 5 hours behind us, so it would be 6 p.m. for you, sir. Yeah?
That's correct, yeah. Days are getting shorter. That sucks, but...
Yeah, don't it just. Okay, so the thumbnail of the show was Can We Win a Cup? So let's discuss any possibilities of West Ham picking up silverware this year so we can kick the show off. What are your thoughts, Craig? I mean, do you think there's anything we should be targeting or?
Well, I mean, first of all, the European Conference League that most people still don't know much about. There's a start, they're doing very well in that. To be fair, during the season, I mean, watching them, there's been some incredibly frustrating performances where they've actually played pretty well. I mean, Nottingham Forest game, missed penalty by Declan, 1-0 loss, hit the post, hit the crossbar, really great, Then you had Brighton. They scored on 2 shots on target. Liverpool game recently, there's another one where you could see David Moyes, he's just chewing on a wasp on the sideway. He just can't believe it. Just really, really frustrating. Everton, another one,
Yeah.
So I would think that they're actually could easily be 6-7 points better off than they are. But nice to see them put a little gap between them and the bottom, that's for sure. But put themselves in 10th. But slow start for sure. Poor finishing.
Yeah.
I think the first 3 games, they didn't have a goal in the first 38 efforts at goal, so that could be frustrating and it's taken some time, but I think it's coming around and there's no reason why, certainly when you talk about cup competitions, that they can't be one of the teams that can compete for sure.
Yeah.
They proved it last year. I mean, they were so close, best chance they probably ever to win a European trophy in recent times. Amazing.
Yeah. Luke, yourself, what about you? No, we've lost you.
Now you're on mute.
Yeah, hang on, let's take you off mute.
No, that was me. That was me. Yeah, I was trying to blow my tea and make it colder, and I didn't want to sort of interrupt Craig. Just before I start, what I was going to say, that goalkeeper kit behind Craig, that's probably my favourite keeper kit of all time. You know, I think we got relegated in that one as well, which I shouldn't be my favourite for that reason, but it is. But yeah, on to cups. We can win it. There's no doubt. There's no. You know, for me, we was quite unlucky, really. We to be honest with you, I think our run in the Europa League last year was actually quite underrated, because considering that it was our first season in Europe properly, after just surviving relegation and then qualifying for Europe straight away, and then to get that far with a threadbare squad. We didn't buy anyone in January, so our squad was pretty depleted. And just to go on there just through momentum, in my opinion, that's what really got us there, is momentum. Was we lost the semi-final quite poorly. We weren't anywhere near it. I think the first goal they scored killed us off in the first leg. So I think we was really unlucky, a bit naive, but then that's to be expected. So I wasn't too gutted. I think we're due a cup run in the FA Cup / League Cup, because we tend to go out of them really early and not to anyone decent. I know we lost to Spurs in the Carabao Cup last season, and I forget what happened in the FA Cup last season, to be completely honest with you. So we can. It's a combination of luck and how much you actually want to win it. In my opinion, a lot of the top teams don't care about the League Cup and the FA Cup anymore. It's all about the Champions League and the Premier League for them. That's it. The top four don't care. To them, it's a bit of a hindrance. They want to get the youth
priority. Yes, absolutely.
They want to get the youth teams to go and don't go any replays, don't do this. They just get the job done. A bit like us in the Conference League, really, to be fair. But it depends on who you draw, and it depends on how the team is at the time. I don't personally see David Moyes wanting to concentrate on the FA Cup and Carabao Cup. I think he's going to see it as something that we don't really need. So he's going to probably put out the kids, which is fine, providing the kids play well when we go through. But we can win it. It always, to me, always depends on how much a team actually want to win it, and that really stems a lot from the manager and the players, to be honest with you. So,
and where they are in the league at the same time too, right?
Exactly.
If there's danger if you're at the bottom. Obviously, they're going to be worried more about their survival. But if they're in a position, I think they're going to be comfortable in the Premier League. That there's no reason to go all out and play. But you're right, the top teams, Champions League is a priority, and they proved that. They get a little bit more serious as the tournament gets further on in the quarters and semis. But that's a really good point. And I think there's a lot of teams down there in sort of the middle to bottom half of the Premier League will be thinking that cup runs are definitely possible. But yeah, the Champions League money compared to winning the FA Cup, it's just mind-blowing.
It's all about the money, isn't it? Unfortunately, it's all about the money.
It is for most clubs, I would think, but I think for the supporters, I think the idea of lifting the FA Cup, especially for supporters of like my age group, and probably up to about or down to about 30-ish, I would think, would kind of remember the glory of winning the FA Cup. There was always something magical about that, about playing in that competition, about getting to Wembley for the final. I mean, the semi-finals at Wembley's okay, but I think they should be played at a neutral ground like they used to be back in the 70s and 80s. There used to be a complete day dedicated to it on TV as well. We don't get that anymore.
I agree with you, Budgie. I really was vehemently against the semi-finals being played at Wembley, because I thought it was more money for the FA. That was basically what it was, and I was like, oh, this is typical, more money for the corporations or governing bodies, whatever you want to call it. And then someone did say, and I think it's quite a good point, is that in a very unlikely case that a lower league team gets to the semi-final, they get a day out of Wembley. And I must admit, me being a
that
Premier
kind
League
of
fan,
warms it up a little, doesn't it?
right, that's the only thing that I can kind of go, do you know what, I can take that. Because if you've got a
Yeah.
team in the lower leagues who, you know, okay, they can get there through the, if they're in the League One, League Two, they get the checker trade, and if they're in the Championship, they might go far in the League Cup or something like that. But generally, you know that the semi-finals are normally Premier League teams in the top 10. So if you do get to give a chance to a lower league team who don't normally get there, then that's great. You just mentioned in there about the 30-year-olds remembering the 80 success and stuff like that. I'm 31.
Yeah.
I don't remember it. I was born in 91. But
No. I didn't mean our success. I mean about
just when it meant something.
the glory of the day
Yeah.
of the FA Cup final, regardless of what teams were in it. You know, they would dedicate a certain amount of to, you know, like team A's preparation and getting to the stadium, and then so much to team B, etc. And there would be a whole dedicated day on TV to the two teams.
Yeah, the last game. It was always the last game of the season too, right? It was
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
That was. I actually still remember those days. But what I was going to say is that I still remember West Ham being in the FA Cup final against Liverpool, and I'm still hurt now. I can barely watch any highlights, anything about that game.
I
It's
still
still
can't.
heartbreaking now.
Yeah.
The first FA Cup I ever remember, FA Cup final was Liverpool against Arsenal. I think when Michael Owen scored in the last minute, scored a brilliant goal in the last few minutes to win it for Liverpool. And I was just getting into football then. And I thought, wow, I think it was at Millennium Stadium at that point. It might be, I think it was at Wembley. I think it was at Millennium Stadium at that time. So that was my sort of first memory. And then obviously, you know, you've got other, you know, Wembley got rebuilt and stuff like that. So I get the whole, but that's what I'm saying. This is how it's changed, and this is how not many people, to my mind, growing up when I first started, took much notice of the Champions League. European football was European football. If you couldn't have you go and compete, a bit like the Club World Cup now. You know what's going on, but you don't really take much notice of it. And it was all kind of about the FA Cup. And I think it must have been about, I can only think from about 2008, 2009, it started getting, people were taking more notice of the Champions League and the final, and the FA Cup wasn't getting...
The game started becoming more commercialised.
Yeah.
Well, remember Alex Ferguson also pulled Manchester United out of the FA Cup to play in that South American tournament, and that
might have been it actually.
That was a real kick to it for sure. I think it's recovered somewhat. Still watch those games. I still get a buzz off it. I remember when playing, and he got a bit of a cup run. We had a few with West Ham. We beat Blackburn on the penalty shots. Then you're sitting around the TV waiting about the draw because you're over. I mean, that's part of it too. You need a decent draw.
Of course,
as well, and there's a bit of luck involved in that. So, but it was always fun, even at Ipswich. You know, who are we going to get? And you'd always like to have one of the big clubs come to your town. And
of course,
I'd like to know what Leicester fans think, because Leicester won it a season or two ago now, and they to beat Chelsea at home. But prior to that, obviously winning the Premier League, and I'm thinking the Premier League was like amazing in itself. It was like an unnatural phenomenon, and then you go and win the FA Cup, and thinking, well, it's the first team. It must be the first team outside the top 6 to win it in about 10 years. It must be. Unless I'm corrected. And I'm thinking, how does it feel to go from winning an incredible... Obviously, both things are incredible, but it's like, you know, is the FA Cup, winning it against Chelsea, a team that's favourite at Wembley, is that... It can't be as big, but does it still feel to them as amazing as it would do, you know?
I think so.
Well,
one of those things, you know?
Yeah,
I do.
I would like
yes.
to think that would be the case, if I'm honest. You know, I mean, they didn't really do too well in Champions League following season after they won the league, Premier League.
No.
And I think they dropped down into the Europa, didn't they? And didn't fare too well there either, as far as I can remember. But you know, we've got. We were talking about the Europa Conference League a little while ago, and we've got to remember that there are going to be teams from the Europa League coming down into the Conference League. I can't remember now. Yeah, I believe now Celtic are completely out, aren't they? They can't even come down to the Conference League.
But they finished well. They got 2 points right now in 4th place.
Yeah, but I don't think Celtic can come down anyway because they're in the. They can't drop down to the conference because they'd only drop down to the Europa League
of course,
anyway.
they're in the Champions League, aren't
That's
they?
right.
Yeah, they can't drop down into the Europa League. Sorry, yeah.
It's only Europa League that can
It's
drop
in
down.
the
to
Europa
conference.
League. Yeah, that was one of the British clubs, I think it was.
That's one of the tough things about the Champions League. The Premier League is such a difficult league to get anywhere near. You get in the top half, let alone get in the top 4. It's really difficult. And then you do see teams in the Champions League that have no right. They wouldn't survive in the Premier League.
No.
Yeah.
Two Scottish teams. I mean, that it's just kind of sad for Scottish football that the level is so vastly different from the Champions League to the Scottish League.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, I actually, like to think that some of the Scottish teams would, fare quite well in our league system. I'm not sure how well they would do in the Premier League right now.
Well,
I think they would probably
I think they do fine because, but you got Rangers and Celtic, massive football clubs, and then you add in the fact you slip in the Premier League money, then it just changes. It's all about TV money. It's all about that. So they're just without it, and it's kind of sad because they're kind of stuck in a really difficult situation where a country of 5 million people, and it's just incredible what they do with what they have, really. But it's always going to be a challenge for those two clubs.
Just a bit of a useless information that anyone wants to know is that if anyone remembers a guy called Shade Haksabanovic, played for us when Moyes first come in to take over from the Bilic era, brought a player in and hardly ever played, but he's one of Celtic's best players at the moment. I was watching a highlight of him, played last night as well in the Champions League. Don't know how well he's doing, but I thought he disappeared off the face of the earth, was in like the Swedish 4th division or something like that, and then suddenly he pops up and he's playing for Celtic. So maybe not as bad as we thought he was at first. Could
maybe not. But then we've got a long history of players that have come to us that have been promising prospects and not really made it here, and then gone on and become phenomenal elsewhere. Case in point being,
there's been a few of those.
I would imagine so. I mean, you must remember when the FA Cup semi-finals were at Villa Park and other places like that. I mean, I just think that kind of spreads the joy of the live event around the country a little more, rather than having everybody congregate in London for 3 major games in 2 weeks. It would be, I suppose, wouldn't it? So,
it's a bit like that for England internationals, wasn't it? For the friendlies, people preferred it when they were going to Southampton and they were going to Old Trafford, or they're going to Aston Villa, because I think the people that wouldn't regularly go to London or couldn't get to London like other people could, it was coming to their their area.
Loads of local support, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. And it's something they don't normally get. So
Well, now that they want to get as many games at Wembley because of the costs that they have to incur there too, right? So it's really just down to more revenue for the FA.
Exactly. Like they need any more revenue.
Yeah.
Just squandering it, waste it, like every football club does.
They should give us over here. The Canadian Soccer Association is very, very poor in comparison.
Can I ask you what you're in the World Cup, aren't you, Canada?
Yes.
I really like Alphonso Davies. I think he's a brilliant player.
He's world class. Hang on 1 second. I'm just gonna.
No worries. I could hear sirens at the side. I think he's closing the window.
Sorry, a siren going by.
I've heard that.
Alphonso Davies. Yeah, that was him. That was him. He's so fast, Alphonso. That was probably him.
Speeding ticket.
What are your chances in the World Cup? Do you fancy your chances, or?
Well, it's going to be interesting. On paper, Canada's fourth in that group, no question, from the players. When you look at the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 players and all that, put that together, it's you got Alphonso Davies and Jonathan David, who's doing very well in the French league. Kyle Larin is sitting on the bench. Has had some injuries, but he has a hard time getting time at Club Bruges in Belgium, but he's part of that. Tejan Buchanan is also part of the Bruges as well, and doing quite well. Eskandarian is Eustáquio, sorry. He plays for Porto. He's one of the main Porto guys. He scored today in the Champions League against Bruges. Yeah. Both of those sides are going through, so they have some quality. And John Herdman, interesting enough, I mean, he's made history qualifying a women's team for the World Cup and the men's team from both Canada. There were some, turned heads, certainly. You can imagine if that was in England and the women's coach came straight into the men's program, there's a lot of questions asked. But I knew what he was doing. I went around the women's program covering them as well for a decade before he got to the men's program. And it's just about people and how you're dealing with that at an international level, as well as knowing tournaments and tournament format. That's really important. Like if he ever transitions into club football, that's going to be a massive transition because he doesn't have any experience doing that. But he's been to literally dozens of tournaments. So he knows how to deal with them and how to manage them very well. So I find him an outstanding individual, a very interesting man. And he has these guys, when they go on the field, regardless of the results, they'll feel like they're going to win the World Cup. Like it's just incredible, the management. He's also from the northeast of England, so he was an English coach that couldn't play, never made it playing, and really had to take some chances and went to New Zealand to get a coaching job with the women's program there. I think it was like the under-17s or something, and then finds his way to Canada. And so he's really had to pave his own way and take a lot of chances and work as nothing's been given to him. So they're in good hands there, and they've never put 11 behind the ball. So they won't do that going to the World Cup. They're gonna play on the front foot, and they're gonna have a go. They're basically very talented in the offensive third and weak defensively. So they're gonna try and play in that area as much as they possibly can. However, they will be susceptible to Kevin De Bruyne and some of these world-class plays. Modric for Croatia. A couple of passes, they can get broken open, and I think that'll happen too. So they're going to have to ride their luck a little bit. But I think it's going to be an exciting team to go watch, and it's not going to be one of your teams that go back and just sort of sit back with 11 behind the ball and try to survive. That's not what they will do. So from that standpoint, I'm really excited about it.
Well, that sounds like we need to bring in the Canadian manager or the Canada manager after we get rid of David Moyes somehow, or he goes away, because that sounds like a sort of West Ham sort of manager West Ham fans would like. So fair enough.
Definitely.
Fair play to you. Good luck to you.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
We know a little bit about Jonathan David anyway, because we were linked with him in the last 2 windows, I believe it was. So a lot of us guys had a look at him, look at his stats and some of the video reels, etc. But he looked like a really promising player. Yeah,
he's outstanding. Definitely, he's absolutely world class. Watching him develop, his story is very interesting. He was born in a camp in Africa, finds his way with his family to Canada and Edmonton, and really had a great community around him that supported him to try, to get into football in the first place. Because over here, it's basically pay to play. So some families can't afford it, and there's certainly one that's just arrived from, a camp in Africa, settling in Canada. They needed some help from the community. So he's as much a community story as he is a success soccer story. So he finds his way to Vancouver Whitecaps, and then Bayern Munich take a chance on him. I know that West Ham were interested in him, but it was one of those. Are you willing to spend $20 million? I think that was around what Bayern paid for him, and most were like, there's no guarantees. And even when he went over there, it was kind of, well, he'll probably go on loan. Send them out on loan, Bayern. They do this, they'll buy players, and they hope that one of them stick. next thing you know, he gets a chance because there was an injury in the back line for Bayern, and he hasn't looked back.
No,
he absolutely hasn't looked back. So
we might have been linked with him, but we're nowhere near at his level. He's a higher level than us. So good luck to him.
So hopefully he can.
Very good player.
Hopefully he can do something at the World Cup too. So maybe he won't be playing as defensive as well, mind you, Bayern give him freedom to go forward too, but he'll be more in the offensive third.
Fair enough.
Which he's going to love, right? I mean, why wouldn't he?
Freedom. That's what every player wants.
Yeah, definitely. Freedom to play where you want. That's I like that. I used to like that as a player. I loved it. Freedom to play where you want. Very rarely got it, but yeah. Okay, so let's have a little view back on a couple of the games that have happened just recently. Anderlecht. Did you get to see the Anderlecht game, chaps?
I didn't see the Anderlecht game. Did you see it, Luke?
I did. I don't think I did see the second one.
So much football.
I know. I'm trying to think. Well, I work 3 different shifts. So one week I can watch it, the other week I can't, and everything else like that. So I genuinely do. If it's been 2 games, if it's 2 games beforehand, I sort of.
Right, we'll move on from that then.
Yeah.
Southampton.
Yes. I watched Southampton.
You saw the Southampton game, yeah.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Right,
yeah, that was
excellent.
That was.
Did you think that there was a foul? There were lots of talk about that. I didn't see it myself.
I think it's 6 of one, half a dozen the other. I think we were sort of. It was one of those games where we were. It was never. No one was ever going to score through like a clear-cut chance. It was always going to be something where it needs a bit of luck. It needs to go. You know, there's a foul or there's a handball or VAR comes into it. It's funny because I think we scored from a fantastic goal from Deck, but then it was like we needed that to get us out of it. We weren't going to score through a great pass, and a lot of our play, I think, was we were panicking every time we got the ball up top, which is just the forwards snatching it wherever they can get. And we've played a bit better since that game, but that game for me, I think it sort of highlighted a problem that a lot of people have got with West Ham, is that we're far more comfortable under Moyes to try and soak up teams and try and hit them on a break, but we don't really counter-attack very well. That's the problem. That's what I've realised. We don't have a real. There's not a real sort of idea when we're going forward of what player does what. It's all right. You get the ball, see what you can do with it, and there might be one player up there with you, and that's sort of carried on for a few games.
It's very
now,
different to last season.
Yeah, it is. There's something.
Same players, same system, same
philosophy,
tactics. Well, same setup. Same positioning, just not doing the same job.
They found it really hard to score, just score goals, and that's been a massive problem for them. I think they're creating chances. I mean, not blatantly open chances, but lots of efforts at goal. I think overall, like I said, I think they should be 6 or 7 points better off than they are. But
yeah,
I mean, a lot of teams could probably say that. That's it's something that I find a little bit. I think I'm a huge fan of Scamacca. I think Scamacca's a brilliant player. He's far better than I thought he was going to be. And he's clearly got some sort of world-class technique about him. But the only thing I find a little bit unfair is that people will bemoaning the fact that Antonio isn't a striker and he can't be relied up top, up front, which is fair enough. He can't. He's clearly not a natural talented striker. Scamacca is. Yeah. But I think there was about 2 games in a row where he had at least 4 chances in each game and didn't score one of them. Or he might have scored 1, but then there was like 3 chances that he didn't. And I was like, this is a guy who's world class potentially because of the teams that were around him that are trying to buy him off us, like PSG, AC Milan, etc. And I just think to myself, do you know what? If you're not going to score, get these shots on target. And I remember thinking to myself, well, I've been saying the same thing about Antonio for the last 6 months to a year, so I can't really say too much. So there's. I'm not slagging him off at all. I'm just saying that that when you've got a team like us who don't, we create chances, but they're not clear cut. If you get what I mean, I don't think I've seen many chances where our strikers are 1-on-1, or our strikers have completely done a defender and we get put through with a one-on-one header, or we've gone past the defender and we've got a chance to hit it from the
Don't get many
6 yard.
tap-ins.
Not really, not even that. It's just clear cut chances where it's one-on-one with a keeper. It's always comes off a defender, or it drops down in front of the box and someone clears it, or it's a half chance from outside the area. Someone puts it in, then defender gets on the end of it. We don't break up defences very well. And I think when you look at us from the defensive point of view, Che Adams had us on strings, had Kerr on strings. Kerr is a fantastic right back. I don't think he's a great centre back. I think he makes too many mistakes and he can't handle the physicality of many Premier League strikers. He had us on strings, and I think for a large point we got a result over them because they took him off, which was weird. I don't understand why they did that. It's a bit of a Moyes thing to do. That is take off an informed player, put one of your favourites. But we're creating chances, but I wouldn't say they're clear cut. And I think if we started to do that and started to play a bit more gung ho football per se, pressurise the opposition a bit more, we might get some more. But the way we're playing at the minute, it's very much like, well, we'll try and nick a 1-0, which is fine as long as you do it. As long as you've got that approach, and as long as you constantly
we've
win
kind of
1-0,
taken a bit more of a standoff approach recently. You know, I mean, last season, we were a lot more direct than we are this season. I think, you know, a little bit of the home period of that style of play has kind of worn off a bit. And I think, you know, with the likes of, a Glad coming back soon, hopefully. We've got, we've got some exciting players. We've got Cornet that hasn't really been able to show himself really too much. We know what he's capable of. We saw him when he was with Burnley.
The Moroccan lad's traveling, isn't he, this week? Algarve?
Yeah, we're at home to Stockport. So
at home. He's in the squad, right?
Yeah, they believe.
Yeah, I believe so.
There's rumours that he'll be starting.
I'll let you know tomorrow because I'm going to the stadium.
Good man. Good man.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah. Well, I paid pretty big money for him too, and he's actually one we'll be watching from Canada's perspective too, because defending against Canada in the World Cup, he hopes he's fit for that, of course.
You know, I mean, we can't really comment on him. We've seen, what was it, 38 minutes of him or something, wasn't it? In pre-season friendly.
Yeah, then he got injured.
So, you know, we know very little about him, but that can be a bonus when our opposition know very little about him either. You know, so I mean, obviously the players around him will know a bit more about him because they will have done training sessions, etc. But you know, I think with him coming back, I think when we get Cornet back, and you know, I like the fact that they're using, that David Moyes is using Flynn Downs a little more often now. He
is, but he's not using him the right way.
No, you're right. But I think he's trying to develop a position for him. If you get my drift, I mean, I think he wants to replace Declan Rice with him when he knows that, you know, Declan's not going to be here forever and a day, is he? I mean, it's a sad fact, but you know,
I would like to, if I got him in a room, I'd like to ask David Moyes two things. I'd like to say, first of all, like, you know, do you not like playing attacking football, or are you allergic to it? Because he's one of those sort of managers who, you know, they've had Sam Allardyce today talking about the England team and stuff like that. And there's this thought process that goes in your head, and you just go, like, why don't they enjoy playing a certain style? Why is it always it has to be a negative style? Why have you got to change someone's position because you want them to play? What is it, an ego thing? Is it something that, you know, you could have the 10 of the world's best players in front of you, and then you're still going to go, right, we'll have 9 of you behind the ball, and we're just going to boot it up to one of you and see how you get on. Is there? So you've got Flynn Downs, who clearly is a holding midfielder, a ball winner who just gets the ball, passes it along, right? David Moyes, for all his graft, doesn't seem to be the sort of bloke who can change every player on that pitch to become a world-class player, but within a few games. So against Bournemouth, he's playing down to the number 10 role. Don't get me started. It's okay, fair enough.
You're starting yourself, mate.
I know. I do that quite a lot. Clearly, he's just going, you know what, I've got to play you. I can't play you in front of Suchek and Rice. I've got to go some sort of attacking because I'm at home and the fans are going to start getting moany. So why don't you play just behind Scamacca and see how you get on? Doesn't seem to me the kind of guy who can just go, right, you see this, you're going to start scoring more goals and give more assists. So he's playing him in a role that he doesn't understand. And I'm just thinking to myself, you've got all these players you've got all these players at your disposal. Why are you still playing the approach as if we're trying to stay up? Because clearly we've got the players to just want to get him in the room. Just want to get in the room and go, why do you, is it an ego thing? I know I'm right. I know this process is right. I know there's 60,000 fans in this stadium that are telling me I'm wrong, but I know I'm right. And a bunch of other things because Suchek has to play for some weird, strange. I don't know if it's because of he brought him to the club and he does exactly what he wants him to do, and he's these teacher's pet. All the rest of it, I don't know why he does. But tomorrow night, I would love for Suchek have a rest. You don't need to play every game. Pretty knackered, Moyes, and just play Downs in that role with Connor Coventry next to him. I don't think it's that much to ask, but he probably
to try and help you to understand why Suchek gets his games so often, all the time, etc., etc. There's one word that can actually clarify it for you, and that word is Fellaini. I mean, Fellaini was his golden boy. He wasn't always everyone's favourite player. But...
No. See, I agree with you. I do agree with you, but the problem is with that is the fact that Fellaini was a great player at Everton. Fantastic. He was almost like a big fish in a small pond. He was fantastic. I think most people can understand why he did buy him at Man United. Because thinking, do you know what? If he can do that at Everton, he can do that with Man United because we've got more support for him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Went there, clearly was out of his depth, and he got played. So I do that. That is 100%. I totally understand. The only thing is the fact that after a while, Moyes got boot at Man United, and there's got to be a point where you're thinking, how safe is my job? Is it? I know because we're on a good run at the minute, results wise compared to what we did at the start of the season, but you've got a bloke like Declan Rice who just doesn't seem happy playing next to Suchek. I don't get the body language and everything. He just doesn't seem. Rice almost seems like he's got to do twice as much work to cover for the fact that the work that Suchek can't do. And you've got a guy there. You've got to try and. It's a gentleman's agreement. He's probably going next year. We're not going to qualify for top 4, so that's fair enough. He's gone. But why would you try and aggravate a player that you want to keep in the best spirits for the rest of the season, including that you're going to need him after the World Cup as well. So it's I don't understand. I do understand it because it's obvious. And I'm questioning everything that I've known for the last 4 days, and I'm just questioning. I'm just bringing it up again. But is it? If you take Suchek out, is he worried that if he takes him out, he's got to play an entirely different system and we do go more attacking then? Or is it just because, right, Suchek's in there, I can still play that same formation, same tactics? Tomorrow night's going to be interesting because we've already qualified. It's whether he wants to finish at the top of the group or just take the second route. So if he does, which I presume he does. I think he did. I think he said it last season.
He said it in one of the press conferences.
Yeah, then we'll probably see a team that is, because in my opinion, I'm not going to lie, I don't think he's going to go for anything at Man United. I think he's going to go for the same thing it was at Liverpool. We're probably going to lose against Man United, play the same sort of football, and try and nick it with. I don't think we're going to get that lucky, to be honest with you. I think Man United are in better form than Liverpool, so we ain't going to get through that one. So maybe he's going to go, right, you know what, I'll play a stronger team against Silkeborg. And it's a free hit against United. No one expects us to get a result there anyway, so why not?
Yeah. Whereas technically he's got the players to be able to put out a strong team for both games. Technically, he just chooses not to use them all.
I think he's had such great success over the last few seasons, really playing that way. Yeah, and I think he's stubborn with it for sure.
Yeah. I mean, he has shown a little more diversity recently with games. It looked like he put out a 4-4-2. When was that? Was that against Bournemouth? I believe it was.
Were they four against Bournemouth, or
I think it was Liverpool, wasn't it?
Liverpool. Yeah, Liverpool.
We had four centre midfielders in a row.
That's it. Yeah, that was quite amazing. And 2 goalkeepers on the bench. Brilliant.
He loves that. I don't know why.
He does.
That really pisses me off.
I think he must be the only manager that actually does that.
Just put a youth player in.
Out of desperation. Nobody does that. They put a youth player there instead, wouldn't they? You know. Which brings us nicely and neatly onto Fabianski or Areola.
Fabianski, he just played his 200th game, didn't he, for West Ham?
Yeah.
He's been brilliant. Like, when you look where he started, and you talk about goalkeepers, and I know when I was younger, and you go through situations and of ups and downs, and they seem to be much greater when you're younger. And you think what he was, at Arsenal back in the day, and using Fabianski. I mean, it was, this is coming at him, and how he battled through that and proved that he is an absolute top goalkeeper, and he's done that in the Premier League. So I've got nothing bad to say against him. Obviously, he's getting older, right? So eventually that change will have to be made and move on from him, of course. But at the moment, I think you're in pretty good hands, West Ham, with Areola and Fabianski.
I think we got 2 exceptional goalkeepers in those.
Yeah, if you're looking at confidence, I think both those guys, they're not goalkeepers that you don't have confidence in, and I think that's always the manager's.
And the beauty of it is that even if the roles were reversed this season to what they are, that Fabianski was our cup and European keeper, I would still have the confidence that we would still be where we are in the Europa Conference League. I just think maybe that Areola is more suited for the Premier League than Fabianski is now, because he's slightly quicker across the ground. I know he's not much taller, but there is a height difference, which makes the reach difference better, as you would probably know better than anyone. And I think he commands his box more efficiently than Fabianski does. Don't get me wrong, I think Fabianski is an absolute legend with the club now. He's been, I know that word gets pushed around easily, but I mean, as you said, when he was at Arsenal, nobody really wanted him. Well, nobody that I knew of anyway would really want him to come to their club.
That's true.
As you said, Fabianski and all that. But then when we brought him in, I personally was a little, cautious, and I thought, I don't know. But, like now, it worries me not when I see his name on a team sheet, It just doesn't worry me because, as you said, he's been fantastic for us.
There is one thing, too. I mean, when you get to his age he is now, mentally, physically, I mean, you might be a little bit slower that way, but you've seen it all, and you've had a long career. It's a real comfort zone that you're in. I think that starts around 32 to 35, and he's in that. And I think he's been there, done it, and he has nothing left to prove. And he just consistently goes out there, and with the experience of all that he's done in the past, and it makes him what he is today.
Yeah. And we've got a great shot stopper. He's a really good shot stopper. I think he's got a reasonable record at penalties and stuff as well. you know, as I said, I've got full confidence in Fabianski. And, you know, I think, as you said, one day that transition will come where we would be considering Areola as our number one goalkeeper. I hope he's happy to wait until that transition comes. I'm fairly sure he will. He looks happy at the club. From the training videos and stuff that you get to see, you know, he looks like he had
well,
fun with
I'm
the
sure
guys.
he's being well paid as well, and
Of course,
there's
yeah.
not many leagues and teams that, you know, if they're not going to come for him, and at this present moment they're not going to, he's going to be quite happy to stay at West Ham, in my opinion. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, speaks a man of experience, of course, you know. You know, you chose to stay with West Ham. What was it, 5 seasons you were with us?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely loved
5
it.
seasons.
Yeah,
and you know, you always said, you know, you were happy to take your opportunities when they came, and you know, played, you know, always ready to go on whenever you were called upon, etc.
I was in my 30s, and I'd been 13 years at Ipswich with a short stint on loan at Chelsea. So I was in a really comfortable spot and loved playing, wanted to start, but definitely had enough during the season, getting enough cup games or when there was injuries or whatnot, to get my fill. Like, I still got enough of it, and just being supportive too to Xhaka and Ludo, and you know, was
I've
also
got to be honest with you. I am completely uneducated here. I didn't know you played for West Ham.
Oh,
I've just googled you, but I did know I did know you played, and I've completely forgot that you played for us because I think you were. That's why you got the shirt. That's fine. That's right. It all makes sense now.
Do you
Okay,
want to
that's
start
fine.
this again?
I'm a little bit I'm just a little bit starstruck now because I'm talking to an ex-West Ham player. So okay, that's
What,
interesting.
you mean Anton
Okay.
didn't give you a heads up?
No, he just said, "Oh, can you be on tonight with Budgie?" I said, "Yeah, go on in." I said, "I'll do 11 o'clock," and then just sent me the thing, and that's it. Didn't know Craig was on. It's no, okay. This is news. Okay, I do remember you because I think back in the day I played a few. I think I played I think it was a football manager game on a PlayStation or a PC or something, and you were the goalkeeper. And I've just started to learn what football was back then. This is me being 31. And this is
well,
like,
that's it. I mean, I haven't played for a
no,
long time. It's all
no.
very clear. It's all very clear to me because I lived it. But
I'm googling you now, and I got you in that shirt behind you. And thank you for representing the old claret and blue, mate, or the green as it is in your case. So thank you very much. Nice. Okay. This is
one of the
right.
most notable games was a clean sheet against Chelsea.
Yeah, that's Craig.
That's massive, isn't it?
Honestly, you wouldn't believe this. I've been in pubs before West Ham games, and every now and then you get someone saying, "Do you remember so and so game?" And then they'll say a name, and I've heard. This is why I thought so. Craig Forrest sounds familiar, and I thought no, okay, it must be a fan. It must be a Canadian, one of the Canadian. This is me being completely uneducated and naive. But
that's awesome. I think
Craig,
that's brilliant.
your name has popped up in. I think it's because as well it's the goalkeepers. You know, Ludo, right? People sing the Ludo song. And then your name got mentioned a couple of times. I remember I was in the park. I remember I was in the Carpenters or something else like that. But someone definitely has said Craig Forrest before, and that's where I know it from. And it's in a good way. It's not in a bad way. It's not like it was shit. No, it's in a good way. It's always been in a good way. So yeah.
Well, actually,
fair
the
play.
West Ham thing went really well. I mean, I think only any of the games I started at West Ham, we lost one. I think that was against Arsenal in the Cup, in the League Cup. Righty scored. I remember that before he joined us at West Ham. But it was just it was passing the Bull and Pub on the corner of Green Street was always a really good experience. So that can only be a good thing, right? Nobody jumping on the car is always a good thing. So
no, yeah, you're right there, mate. No, fair play.
So we finished in the top 10 for 5 years. It was under Harry, Redknapp, and the crew there was just amazing. The squad was just fantastic with Moncur, Lomas, Sinclair, Razor Ruddock, and Ian Wright comes, Stuart Pearce, Stevie Potts, Moncur. Did I mention him? Like,
Yeah,
fucking
I think you did.
Jesus, just nuts.
Yeah,
John
but you're allowed to
Hartson.
mention him twice because he's usually running around naked anyway. So,
oh, he loved being naked.
Okay. This is changed my whole
I
perspective.
do actually want to just mention. I think you said you had another thing to go on to. Are you?
Yes, I do actually. Yeah, well, actually, I lost track of time. I was enjoying. Yeah, I've got to do my own podcast.
It can't go now. Not after I've just discovered this amazing news. I've waffled on about Moyes' tactics, crap performances, all this, and I didn't know how to format that. This annoyed me now. Okay.
No, it's very interesting, and you guys are very accurate with it. I mean, Christ, you guys, let's face it, you guys watched a lot of football. You watch West Ham inside and out. Like, I get it, and most of the stuff that fans are saying is actually quite true. I mean, you always get debates and stuff, and that's always going to happen. That's the love of the game, is part of it too. But yeah, no, I agree with a lot of what you're saying.
It's actually painful knowledge, Craig. It's years and years and years of moaning and moaning and moaning, and that moaning after a while in the brain, it accumulates in the nerve system, and it eventually turns to knowledge. And then when you get a position like West Ham were in last season, where you're going really fast in Europe, your brain goes, right, it's all going well at the minute. What can I moan about? And you're thinking, right, the style of play ain't very good. We'll latch on to that. We'll go for that, and it just spiraled. And then West Ham actually do start playing terribly. And you go, okay, here we are. We're back now. We're crap again. Right, okay, what can we moan about now? Let's go to the YouTube channel and let's start waffling on. That's what happens. That's what happens with me anyway. So I'm gonna have to find your podcast. I'm gonna have to find it now. Right, okay. This is because you've got Rusty B on here and Anton, and all they've done is they've been lucky enough to go and talk to all their boyhood heroes on this channel. And they always tell everyone about an hour, 2 hours, 5 hours before in the chat. Jump on, this person's coming on, it'd be great to listen to them, great. They're starstruck themselves. And now no one's told me that a former player is coming on tonight. And I could have had questions, we could have had little interviews. No, nothing.
Well, I've been on with you before, so I'm quite happy.
You probably
to
have, to be fair. My memory is actually shot, to be fair. So,
actually, to be fair, I asked Craig to come on as a panel member rather than as a celebrity.
So it's your fault, Budgie. It's your fault this has happened. Okay,
it kind of is,
Okay, good. You're the Moyes with West Ham Network at the minute. Okay, that's fine.
Well,
I'll get you next time, Luke. You can ask.
Definitely. If you're ever in England, catch you for a beer or something. But yeah, I'll find your podcast, mate. It's Footy.
Okay. It's Footy Prime at Footy Prime on Twitter at Footy Prime, the podcast.
I'll find it, and I'm on Twitter as Luke Bailey, not De Gea lookalike. In case you're wondering, most other people have probably thought.
Oh, okay.
So I'll try and follow.
That's where you're under De Gea lookalike, are you? Yeah.
Apparently, I don't buy it. I don't see it at all in any way, shape, or form. But apparently, I am. Yeah. So there you go.
Now you say it. Now it's a little bit. I'm sure you're making the same money.
That's what I did at the time. I just thought got the
little. See, there you go. There's definitely
there 5 minutes. So don't know. What do you reckon?
Can you save shots?
Screenshot whatever you like.
Shot stopper.
Yeah.
Can you? Are you a good in goal?
I am, but Moyes wouldn't play me anyway. He'd have me on the bench along.
I don't know, but there's always space to bench for another keeper.
Well, I'll chuck some gloves on and see how far I get when I go down to London Stadium next time. See if I can get him past security.
Just walk up with a De Gea shirt on. He'll believe it's him. Honestly,
what's he doing? He's Man United. Get him out. Right. Yeah.
No. Actually, he's worked with him, so I don't think he would buy it.
No, that's that point.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. I really
Craig, it's always a pleasure chatting with you, sir. Thank you for joining me.
You and we'll stay in touch on WhatsApp as well.
Definitely, most definitely. And
Luke, we'll see you again.
Yeah, I'm going to get Luke into the group anyway. So when we finish and we chat on the thing, I'll.
There you go. Perfect.
Get him in. Well, there's so many other people in it. We might as well get.
It's all happening tonight. I'm getting everything. I'm getting next player. I'm getting added to a WhatsApp group.
Oh, mate, I'll get you a VIP T-shirt in a minute. You watch.
Oh, great. Nice one. Probably like De Gea on the back or something. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Could be
Yeah,
worse.
but
Could be like Steve Agrizovic or something like that. You probably
Yeah.
don't remember him either, do you?
I probably
Roberto.
couldn't spell it, to be honest with you, if I tried. So yeah, no, but no.
Big
Yeah.
Big Augie. You remember him? But
Oh yeah, I probably
Yeah.
do. To be fair,
Yeah,
yeah.
I do. Yes.
Coventry,
Right.
fantastic goalkeeper and a gentleman.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, so right, well, we're going to wrap this up then. Unless you want to carry on going, Luke. I mean, I'm ready to
You can
carry
keep
on.
going if
Stop.
you want, Phil. I don't want to
I tell you
cut the
what.
party short.
I
Sorry,
tell you
mate.
what. Well, should we do predictions for tomorrow night?
Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Quick lineups and then predictions and all that malarkey.
All right then. Let's do that.
Right.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. You go first, Budge.
So, are you staying with us, Craig, for a bit, or are you?
I'll stay, Phil. I'll just say 3-0 West Ham.
Decent.
3-0.
Yep. So we need to
Love
say.
that.
It's all good.
Have a good night,
that.
boys.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Nice to meet you, Craig. All the best. Right. That's that.
Well, I do apologise that you weren't forewarned. And,
No, I'm joking. I just I got a
Yeah.
bit. I was like going. I think it's really weird. You know when you see someone and you recognise them.
yeah.
There's no way. Obviously, I've just googled him. He looks completely different to what he would have done playing for West Ham. But the name Craig Forrest was. I don't know why that just seemed very very familiar. And I'm thinking, I know this. And I don't know him. I know him, but I do know it. You know. So yeah, no, I'm joking. It's just when you don't think someone's someone and you find out they are, and then it's that's mad, absolutely mad.
Yeah. Crazy. All right. Okay. So right. So what we're going to do? Let's do a little bit of a line-up first, then.
Okay.
So keeper. It's going
Areola.
to be Areola, definitely. Right. So we're going to get covered on the screen now, I expect. There we go. So Areola is number one. Back four. Well, what sort of formation are you expecting?
Something along the lines of 4-3-3.
Yeah, I would think. So we're looking at what? Zuma and...
I would actually go myself with the two centre backs being Kera and Agerd. Because I think if he's going to be fit, if he's going to be fit enough, he'll probably start him.
Yeah, hang on. Let's see if I can do this. Look. No, it still covers this. Well, that's no bloody good. Well, that's rubbish. Anyway, let's not bother putting them up because I didn't realise they were going to just completely cover the screen. Right. Okay. Oh, look. There we go. Right. So, yeah, that's a bit better now for me. So you fancy Kera and Agerd in the middle?
Yeah.
That's actually, I think Kera's a better right back than he is centre back.
I just don't think he'll play there tomorrow night.
Who do you think he'll play out on the right then?
Sufal.
You think, yeah? Okay. Creswell out on the left?
Emerson for me.
Emerson, yeah? I agree with that. That's what I would do. Is that what David Moyes will do?
This is a combination of what I think he'll do plus what I would do. Because it's I probably would play a completely different team, but it's got to be a bit of both for me at the minute.
It's got to be a bit Moyesy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Areola in goal. We've got Kera and Agerd in the middle with Sufal on the right and Emerson on the left. 3 midfielders.
Will be Downs.
Yeah.
Lanzini. And either Souček or Fornells. I think he'll probably go with
Souček.
I think he'll go with Fornells actually. I think he might actually give Souček a rest for Man United. I think he might go with Downs and Lanzini in the middle.
And Fornells, yeah.
I don't know where. I think Fornells might go on the left unless Cornet's fit. But also, I think Benrahma might go on left as well.
Cornet's
So
out for tomorrow.
right. Okay, so Benrahma will play again. I mean, I think he'll keep that momentum up. So you'll have the two holding midfielders will be Lanzini and Downs with Benrahma on the left.
Right. Okay. And 3 up front.
You'll have Antonio as a striker.
Yeah.
You'll have Bowen on the right. And then this is the only cloudy bit, because is he going to go with an actual attacking midfielder or try and play someone in that 10 role, possibly Lanzini if it was to go that way? So I'm probably going to say Fornals, because he can do the defending part on the left as well.
Yeah.
Either that or he will play Souček, and it will be Lanzini down to Souček in the middle.
Can you see him playing, like, as you said, a 3-man midfield, but like with, say, Downs and perhaps Fornals as the 2, and then Lanzini in front, or even Paqueta in front?
To be honest with you, I would like to see him play Fornals as a holding midfielder, because the way he's
a number 8. He wears the shirt, and that is his best position for me.
When we bought him, he was a bit of a flair player, and he's knocked it out of him, and he's made him a hard-working player. So if you are going to do that, and I don't think Fornals has ever really been a wide player, if you are going to do that, put him in a position that best suits that kind of play. Put him in attacking midfield, because what it means is that Fornals will be able to do the defending without neglecting that wide side, and can stay in the middle and work just as hard as Downs does, with skill as well to match. So if you're going to play Fornals as a defensive player, and you don't want to make us completely defensive down the left-hand side, plus you've got Emerson, who's quicker than Creswell, so he can get up and down quicker, then then play Fornals as a holding midfielder alongside Downs and put Lanzini in the hole,
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him use Lanzini as a 10 and Fornals as an 8, because I think, even though that's the shirt numbers they wear, but even so, I think that's their better positions. I think that's, I think Lanzini thrives on, those little wind-cut balls and stuff. I think, okay, he's a little bit slower than he used to be at it, but he's still got the ability, in my opinion. So, if you're not going to play probably the best number 10 we have, as in Paqueta, then I think you've got to use Lanzini in that role if you're going to play a 10, for me. But I think also, even Bowen out on the right, I think he's beginning to pick up his game. He's having a lot more success with his runs and stuff in these last few games. So, I think, a little bit more match familiarity for him. I think he'd be back to the standard he was last season, hopefully, anyway. Can't see him going downhill again too easily.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, let's hope not. All right, okay, so that's the starting 11. Our favourite starting 11, anyway. What about prediction for the game?
Well, I'm going to go with 4-0. I always tend to go that we concede a goal, but I might have even done a prediction with Anton earlier. I've just forgot it now. Completely doing myself over. To be on it twice today now, but I'm going to go ahead and say, I think I did say 4-1, didn't I? I think I said 4-1 earlier. I think I did. So right, I'm sticking with 4-1.
4-1.
I think I did.
Okay.
This is got a baby on the way, so my head's everywhere at the minute. So
congratulations, by the way.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah, it's just not being born yet, but it's just getting there, and it's now. I'm off work now, and I'm just trying to. Everything's got to go in at some point.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say 4-1. West Ham always got a goal conceded in them, but in these competitions we tend to like going, especially at home. We tend to like scoring quite a few goals. So I'm going to go 4-1.
If Aged and Kehrer are playing centre back, you're probably going to be right with the forward, well, with the conceding a goal anyway. I think it's going to take them a little while to work together, but you know, hey, we don't really know what the situation is going to be back there. But I think I'm going to agree with Craig. I think we're going to get a clean sheet, and I think it'll probably be 2-0 if I'm honest.
Fair
That'll
enough.
be my prediction. Yeah.
Same as Monday night.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be as easy as people assume.
No.
It weren't as easy as people assumed when we went out there. So,
exactly.
Every game is like, you got to approach every game like it's the most important game of your life. And if them boys go out there and do that, who knows what they can get. And right at the beginning of the show, we said, can we win a cup? It's quite possible that we could go all the way and win this trophy. We just have to apply ourselves.
Got to try, haven't we? Got to try.
We have.
At least get to the final. Do better. Go one better than last year, and hopefully the draws are kind to us and stuff like that.
Yeah. And hopefully the teams dropping down out of the Europa League, we can avoid them as long as possible. I think we beat them all last year, so what's it matter?
I think Roma and Lazio are two teams that are in there now. You've got 2 games left to play, but they're potentially coming down, dropping down. I'd tell you what, I'd like us to get Lazio preferably, just because of the Di Canio link, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm one of these people that you beat whoever you get, and to be the best, you got to beat the best. So
That's right.
I don't care who we get.
A few boxers say the same thing. You have to beat the man in front of you.
Yeah, and that's
not about
last year's Europa League knockout run. I'll never forget it. They were, in my opinion, iconic games. Lyon away was just incredible.
We steamrolled them.
Yeah, I never expected that at all. And
and Declan getting that goal and then kissing the badge. Iconic.
I was crying in the pub.
Oh God, brilliant!
That night in Lyon, incredible.
I think I ran as much in that pub as he did up the pitch when he was kissing the badge.
I did on the spot after about 6 pints, so I was doing pretty well, to be fair. Not to fall over at all. So
it was great, wasn't it? It was great.
The old Olympic Stadium. I think it's whatever. I think he's the actual Olympic Stadium in Italy, isn't it? In Rome, where Lazio and they play. And to go there for an away day would be. I don't do many away days, so it probably wouldn't be for me. But
me either. But I think that's one I might want to go to.
That would be right up there. That would be something special. So
definitely. I mean, they've had some iconic players in their history, haven't they? So
exactly. None more so than Felipe Anderson, who's still playing for him and playing pretty well, apparently.
Yeah, by all accounts.
Good luck to him.
Yeah, another player that's been through the Claret and Blue Mill and turned out to be better than we gave him credit for.
Well, he started off well, and apparently he found God. And I've followed him on Instagram, and I used to look at his stories every day. And he was going to sort of like, I think they do like churches in central London. They go for gospel sessions and stuff like that. Right. And I weren't sure if I was watching it after he'd been converted or started getting into it, or if he was always like that. But a lot of people said that he started off really well with us, which I didn't really think was true, but apparently a lot of people said think he did, and then dropped off once he found God. So I don't know. I don't know. That's what other people have said about him, but he's still like.
That's something I never realised. I never heard that.
It's quite interesting. Anyone that is on Instagram, anyone is looking for things to look at, go and follow the players who's got Instagram accounts, because they do put some interesting stuff up there at times. You do the little things you don't realise. There's stuff at training or when they go home, because we all see them during the game's 90 minutes and that's it. We don't really know what goes on. But sometimes you
Yeah.
do get a few. They post things and you go, oh, hold on, this is interesting. It happens a lot during the transfer window because people will get whatever little bit of information they can
Yeah.
to try and scoop some news, like what happened with Diop, etc. But there's a lot of stuff going on. You know, you find
I've
out
seen him play twice now. No, actually, sorry. I saw him play at Crawley in the cup game where Crawley Town beat them. That was really good. That was really, really good. And he was there, so, you know, gave him a few shout-outs. Pleasant ones.
Yeah, obviously.
Big halo above my head, honestly. Yeah. But, yeah, I'd see it. Yeah, I'd see it down there. It was quite funny. And because I had a West Ham shirt on, I think he realised that I knew who he was and stuff. It was quite funny.
You meant well.
Yeah, that's right, I did. Yeah, I said, you shit now, you're not with us, aren't you? Because Crawley was just beating them. You know, it was, just had a bit of a giggle. Bit of banter with him. But I actually really liked him as a guy, you know. I mean, he's a real nice fella. Full of fun and that, you know. Anyway, let's change the subject. There's a few people in the chat. I've missed loads of comments. Probably about 20,000. But Freshfielder is saying the real Stadio Olimpico.
That would be the one. Yeah.
Stadio Olimpico. So we're renaming our stadium apparently. So why don't we call it that?
Apparently we're not. Apparently we were due to, and then the kit deal. Apparently we're going to be getting is worth more money to us, and I don't like. You know, I'm not a big fan of it being called London Stadium, but it's better than a lot of things that we're apparently going to call it. So I'll take that for now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting quite used to calling it London Stadium now. You know, I mean, it's at first I would say, to my brother, West Ham, we're at Upton Park. No, we're not at Upton Park. We're at the Olympic Stadium. And he'd go, no, it's the London Stadium, bro. Yeah, for about 6 months though, me and a few of my mates, we were calling it the Ollie Stad. You know, sort of abbreviating.
Yeah.
And a few of my mates sort of cottoned onto it, and we started calling it that for a little while. But then they gave it the London Stadium, so done me head in. Just going to campaign for it and everything. I was.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Right, guys. So I am going to the stadium tomorrow. I'll be at the Carpenter's Arms, as usual.
What's that like nowadays? Because I tried to get into it a few times last season prior to the, I think, cut of the Europa League knockout games, and you just couldn't get in there. There was hundreds of people just walking back after getting turned away. Is it prior to a normal match day? Is it still as packed up? Have you got to get in there?
Still, you have to get in there relatively early in the session, if you like. I mean, look, sometimes people are queuing up, but people are coming and going quite regularly in the pub. You know, it's quite well secure. Now the security team that work it, you know, they do it quite well. You know, it's manic in there.
About half an hour.
Sometimes,
worth
but
it. It's worth it.
Yeah, it is if you're really into a proper, proper West Ham pubby atmosphere. You know, I always say it reminds me of the old bowling. You know, when pre-game and post-game. But you know, they got a DJ in there who plays all the tunes. You know.
Brilliant. Well, the few times I've been in there, it's been really good. It pumps you up. It gets you pumped up. People don't realise how much.
Definitely. I mean, I've been to the supporters club a few times, and that's not so bad. But you know, it's very kind of calm, and you know, there's no music pumping. Well, actually, tell a lie. Last week they had a DJ up there, so up on the veranda bit, up on the roof.
Yeah.
So that was quite good. I mean, I don't know how long they've been doing that, but that was a bit of a surprise. Went up there, just popped up to go and say hello to a few people and that. But so
fair enough.
Yeah, there's quite a few pubs around the area that do have DJs and stuff. can't remember the names of any of them because I'm never really sober enough by that time. People
Yeah,
say to me,
no,
"Oh, send me a reaction video." And I go, "Yep, of course I will."
yeah,
And about 3 or 4 of them go down my neck, and I completely forgot I've even agreed to do them. So,
yeah. No, I'm in the
most
same
people,
boat a few times.
now I just say, "I'll do my best."
Yeah, it's fair enough. So you can ask, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, mate. I mean, I'm one of these old school, fans. Match day. If you're going match day, it's all about having the fun that you want to have. It's all about being the person you want to be on the day. And you pay good money to go and see, a game of football. So, I just love having a bit of fun
you
before
got
and
to,
after
ain't
the games.
you? Got to.
Yeah,
Got to have your
definitely.
own fun before a game. Might be
Yeah, of
everyone's
course.
sort of fun, but it's definitely some sort of fun.
Yeah, that's it. Some people like going to, like a gastro pub where they can sit down and eat and have a beer, or restaurants or McDonald's or whatever. So there's a group of fans that like sitting around this little local shop just up the road from the Carpenters, and they all sit around the little courtyard there having a few tins and singing a
Whatever
few
floats your
songs
boat.
and that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great. It's a good atmosphere on match day out there.
Nice.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, look. Should we call it a day then, mate? Because
Yeah, my battery's about to run out on my laptop actually, so
right,
probably a
okay.
good idea to be fair.
I
Can't remember if I
always
cut my
plug mine
charger
in.
either. I
Yeah, I always
did,
plug
and
mine
then
in for a start.
I've taken it out, and it's round back of the sofa with all the other wires now, and I can't find it. And I had full battery prior to this video, so this computer's getting a bit knackered.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Well, look. Thanks so much for joining me tonight, Luke. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you, mate.
Yeah,
And
I
sorry
apologise to
that
all the
you weren't
viewers.
pre-warned about Craig's appearance.
I'm joking. I probably made him feel more
Yeah.
famous than he has done the last 10 years, the way I reacted. So yeah, no, it's great. It's interesting. Yeah, just
I
remembered the
mean,
name.
I will. I'll get him on again, no doubt, at some point, and you can come on and have a proper chat with him. We'll do a proper Q&A
Yeah,
with him or something.
yeah, go for it. Yeah, I'll apologise to the viewers who've seen me twice in one day. They must be sick inside of my face right now, But there you go. It is one of the things. Sorry,
Oh,
Kitty,
I'm
but
sure. I'm
sorry.
sure they love you, mate. I'm sure they do. And next week we've got no Kieran again. Unfortunately, he's working out in the sticks. No signal. He can't get any internet or anything out there.
Excuses.
So we'll have somebody else filling in. Maybe if you want to come back on again, Luke, you're
See what I
welcome
can
on,
do.
mate.
See what I can do.
I mean, like you said, you work awkward shifts, so.
Well, I'm off now.
See,
I've got the world is my oyster for a little bit because
all right.
prior to the
Paternal
arrival.
leave.
So yeah, that sort of thing. So yeah,
Excellent.
and holiday as well. That's
So
accumulated.
it's imminent then. It could happen any
It's
moment.
it's within the next couple of weeks. So
All right. Okay.
baby hammer on the way. So it's already been decided.
Congratulations.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and also, obviously we've got Tom and Bex having a baby soon as well. Tom and Rebecca, they're having one soon. So lots of little baby hammers coming up. Love it. Do you know the gender of the baby?
Yeah, we do. Having a little hammerette.
Little hammerette.
Yeah, I haven't quite decided the name yet, but it's
okay.
It's getting there.
Lovely. Well, all I can say is my dad told me you never prove your manhood until you've had a daughter. So carry that one through for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, lucky I'm having a girl then, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm telling you.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate that.
Yeah. I knew I'd make you feel good before we go.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no pressure. That's fine. Yeah,
no pressure. No, mate. Congratulations, and I hope everything goes well. Hopefully I'll chat with you. Stay in the green room for a sec, though, if you would, so we can get you hooked up with the WhatsApp group if you want to join it.
Yeah, no problem.
And all right, mate. All right, well, look, I'm going to play us out of a little video if I can find it. And we will talk to you again soon, people. And See you next Wednesday. Take care.